Happy Friday, guys, and welcome back to our farm. We got something really exciting to share with you today. We just picked up our year supply of beef. So take a look at this behind us. We got these 2 coolers, and we are really excited to bring this home. So we're gonna lay it all out for you here. We're gonna break it down for you by cut. We're gonna let you know exactly how many steaks we got, how many roasts, and so forth. We're gonna tell you what we paid for this. Whole breakdown coming your way here. But first, I really wanted to dive into what this means for us. It's a year's worth of beef. That's awesome, and we're really excited about it. But it also represents a sense of security for us here on the farm. We know that at all times throughout this upcoming year, we're gonna have meat in our freezer. We don't have to worry about a grocery store. We don't have to worry about commercial industry. We know that our meat is here, it's secure, and it's gonna keep our family fed. And I think that's really important, especially what we've gone through over the last couple of years. At the time, if you would ask people, is there ever gonna be food shortages? Are the grocery stores ever gonna have bare shelves? Everyone would be like, you're crazy. But we all lived it at this point. So if you're not taking a step forward in securing your own food, again, trying to achieve a little bit of food independence, most likely not everybody is going to be 100% self-sufficient. That's not realistic, and neither are we. We're not even close to that point. But if you're not taking steps, I truly think that you're doing it incorrectly, because what would happen if shortages come back? Are you prepared? Do you have meat in your freezer? 98% of our population, unfortunately, probably doesn't. Most people are just going to go to the grocery store weekly and rely on that. Well, we don't want to do that here. And I hope everything we talk about today can kind of encourage you to really start thinking on a more of a local level, on more of a do-it-yourself level, because that is going to be how you achieve a sense of security, a sense of food independence. Honestly, it's going to give you a healthier product as well than your commercialized food. So again, hopefully you guys learned something from us today and really start to move forward. There's definitely a couple advantages to buying in bulk like this, aside from the food security part. Buying in bulk, you're going to pay one set price, and we're going to get that to you here at the end once we get everything stocked away. Now, granted, it is a pretty significant chunk of money, but it's not something that you can't save up throughout the year and kind of plan for, because again, you're buying it once a year. Rather than going and trying to buy meat every week, I actually think you save money this way, because you pretty much paid it once, and we don't buy meat the rest of the year unless it's some sort of specialty cut or something like that, something that we just might not have. So I think you save money by doing this. Another advantage that we alluded to a little bit, but buying local. So I'm actually buying this from a farmer. It's actually somebody that I work with, and he has roughly 100 cattle on his farm. Not 100% grass-fed. I'll be the first one to admit that it's not 100% grass-fed. But again, it's locally raised. I know what he's feeding them. He tells me what he's feeding them. I know that these animals are out majority on grass for the most of their lives. So right there, you're going to gain huge health benefits. It's definitely just a premium product. And you're going to see that in our price. We're probably going to pay a little more than a lot of your commercialized beef, but that's okay. I've been working with him now for a couple of years, and I'm pretty confident that, year over year, I mean, he asked me early on in the year, hey, you're going to want a beef this year. Those relationships go a long way, where I can go to him and I know he's most likely going to have it, where the stores, hey, you never know. One day those shelves could be bare again. There is a disadvantage, and only one as far as I'm concerned, and that is you are going to need a chest freezer. You're going to need a chest freezer or an upright freezer, some sort of storage for a quantity this large, which again comes at a cost. But again, you're buying it once. It's going to last you several years. There's always that chance that your power goes out. Well, hopefully you have a ways to deal with backup power. Your freezers could fail as well. I suppose that could be a downfall. In our case, we do have another freezer. It's pretty full, so I don't know if it would be enough for this beef, but our freezers show no signs. They're pretty new. Eventually we are going to get a third freezer down there. That way I can only have one a little bit full in case something does fail. We can throw a bunch of meat over and we're going to be okay. But again, a chest freezer, if your stuff is frozen solid, that's going to last several days if it fails on you. So hopefully you can source another freezer. That would be worst case scenario. Again, best case scenario is you have an extra just on hand or a little bit full. That way you can just quickly move your meat right over. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna unload this, we're gonna get it in the freezer, we're gonna give you a count of what we have here, total breakdown and weight and cost, and we'll be right back with you. All right, beef freezer is cleaned out and we're gonna load it up. We moved the rest of our beef over to our chicken freezer. Yes, we do have a chicken freezer. We have about 20 pounds of ground left over from last year, along with a bunch of steaks and a couple roasts, some soup bones, a couple things from last year still. So we're gonna work through that first. We're gonna put that on the top of our beef freezer, but this is our chicken freezer. Had to organize a little bit to get everything in here. We're pretty jam-packed. So we got a ground beef in, mixed in with one turkey there that we just couldn't fit in the other one. But a little advice, I always just put the ground beef in first. It kind of fits in those tight cracks. I like these crates as well for other stuff. So it works right around the crates for you. It just fits nice on the bottom where a lot of that stuff won't exactly take up your freezer space. You can also always go digging for ground beef. You know what it is by feeling it. If you're looking for a certain steak, you're not gonna be able to do that. So again, it makes it just easy. We got a bunch of patties here that we have up on our little shelf. We ended with 90.5 pounds of ground beef. So that includes the stuff that's loose here on the bottom and all of our patties right here. We like to work with this butcher. You know, they package everything real nice for us here. Nice, solid, tight vacuum seal, 4 patties per, really nicely done. And then the ground just comes in your typical, you know, ground bag, loose bag. Just cut that open. And now we're on to the fun part. I would call this the good stuff here. So we'll go through this as we put it in. I would just throw it in the crates. We got some sirloins, got some short ribs, got some round steak, arm roast, more short ribs, lots of steak, lots of roast. Can you tell I'm excited? There you have it, guys. Freezer full of meat. Actually didn't fill it up quite as much as I thought it would. This is venison, a whole crate of ground venison from last year. This is our remaining beef from last year. As you can see, we have a couple roasts, a couple top rounds here. But all in, we got a ton of steak in the freezer. We got a ton of ground beef. We're gonna give you a breakdown right now. All right, so we tallied up our totals here, and we're gonna come home with 203 pounds of meat. So pretty good yield there. If you guys aren't familiar with beef, you're gonna take home roughly 60% of your hanging weight. In our instance, the hanging weight on the half was 359 pounds. So we're shooting over that 200 range just a little bit. So 203, it comes in just below 60%. I believe that's about 58% there. And now out of that, majority is going to be ground beef. So we ended up pulling in 90 pounds of ground beef, 70, you know, we do 1 pound packages, we throw it in there loose. It's always good for, you know, whatever it is, whether it's tacos, burgers, you know, you name it, whatever you use ground beef for. I always like the loose stuff. We did 20 pounds in patties just for the simplicity there. You know, pop a patty on the grill and you're good to go. So 20 pounds of patties, 70 pounds loose, 90 pounds of ground. So that's going to leave us with about 113 pounds of cut meat. And what that's going to be is going to be your steaks for one, of course, everyone's favorite, right? Your roasts, your brisket. We take the liver, the heart. Let me grab my cheat sheet here and I'll read off the breakdown for you on the 113 pounds of cut meat. So we got our Delmonicos, that's 4 packs of those. And the packs are going to be roughly, you know, a pound a piece. We don't have a weight on them, but you can kind of estimate there. We have 11 packs of rounds. Now that's going to be your top and bottom round, your eye of round. So that's kind of what we listed there. We generalized a little bit. 9 packs of sirloin, again, top and bottom sirloin. T-bones, 2 packs of them. Porterhouse, we got a pack of them. Got 9 roasts, and that's gonna be your arm and your chuck roasts, and roughly 4 pounds a piece. We do know that much, so roughly 36 pounds of roast there. Short ribs, got 4 packs of short ribs, and then a brisket. So 8 to 10 pounds, we probably think our brisket is. A nice fatty brisket, the way we like it. And again, that's gonna come out to about 113 pounds. So all in, we're talking 203 pounds of meat in the freezer. We paid $1,624 for that. That breaks down to $8 a pound. So I know that seems like a lot, but you know, picture yourself looking at that package of meat at Walmart or Giant or wherever you are in the country, your local chain. Of course, you're going to pay $5 for that pack of ground beef, and you're thinking $8, that's crazy. But you have to think all the cuts of steak. So last I checked, I just looked this up, the average price per pound on a T-bone steak is $18.99. So you start factoring that stuff in, our price, it isn't far off. And again, we're willing to pay for a little bit more of a premium product. We know it's locally raised. We know how it's raised. It's not going to be standing on a concrete slab. It's not going to be pumped full of chemicals and who knows what. We know what we're getting here. And at the end of the day, we can rest our head on the pillow at the end of the night knowing we have 200 pounds of meat in the freezer to go along with what we have left over from last year. Probably a good 100+ pounds of chicken, if not more. We have some venison in there and then pork on the way. So as I started with in the beginning, and I know I'm doing a lot of talking here tonight, but I think it's so important. Begin building some of that food storage, begin establishing some food security, because you never know, what's going to happen. You never know when you're going to need it, and not having to rely on someone or something else is definitely just a great reassuring feeling. And of course, we could take it a step further. We could produce this right here on our farm, which eventually we're going to do. But this is one step in the right direction for us. Again, we continue to build on this. We continue to stock up. And that is what food independence is all about. So if you like what we're doing, guys, enough of my rant for the night. Please give us a good old thumbs up. Subscribe to our page. We would really appreciate the support. It's Friday night. Go enjoy yourself. Take care. Have a great weekend. We'll be in touch soon.